It's a career that spans 30 years. Rich Schaaf is arguably one of the most successful athletic directors on the high school level in the nation, and undoubtedly the most successful AD in the state of California. He has guided his coaches and athletes at Santa Margarita Catholic High School to unbelievable success. Today, I talk with Coach Schaaf about his 40-plus years in high school sports. I'm Paul Higgins. This is Coach's Corner, and all the action starts right now. So, Rich, I got to start off by saying congratulations. 30 years is a long time, but it probably went by pretty fast. Your thoughts as you get ready to retire shortly here?
It's funny you say fast. When you say it, I go, yeah, fast. But as I start thinking back on the coaching, because really I started after 2 years of high school. I've been coaching for 44 years, and then AD here for 31. But you say the word fast, but it's a lot in those years, because as I was thinking about doing this show, I started thinking about everything that went into building this school, all the great players, all the coaches, all the great parents to help build this place. Yeah, a lot went into those 30 years, so seems fast, but quite a bit.
And you started off here at Santa Margarita as the basketball coach, and you parlayed into being an athletic director. When did you decide to go into that direction, that more of an admin role, a huge role here at a school like this?
Well, when we started, I remember it was Jim Hardigan and I were at Mater Dei, and the principal at that time came in, and Jim and I think were in the weight room or something like that. Basically, he went up to me and said, I'm building a new school. You're going to be the head basketball coach and athletic director. Turned to Jim and said, you're going to be the head football coach. What do you guys think? Okay. I mean, we're in our late 20s, and it was like, all right, we'll just do it. You know, we were set to be at Mater Dei for a long time, but we had no idea about the new school till he just said it to us. And I think he saw something in us that said, hey, maybe these guys would be the right guys. And the joke was, the first 5 or 6 years here, that, well, these guys will get it started, and then they'll bring in the real football and real basketball coach.
That is funny. I remember that because it was in '86 that I started my company, Athletes in Motion. And then I was right across the street here in the apartments. And I remember when the school got built, and of course I was here when the field was grass and had patches of dirt, and you guys were out there playing football. Those early days, how exciting was that?
Well, you know, I thought about that last night too. You had a big part of helping put us on the map, because without your program, our success might not have gotten known. And you did a great job with, hey, this young school, not many students, and we're playing at a high level already. And so your show did a lot for us. And then, yeah, in the beginning it was real exciting. You know, it was so new, and it was a challenge to get everything going. I mean, Jim and I, luckily, you know, we had both coached 4 or 5 sports already. Yeah. And then we brought on some other really good coaches. An early coach that needs credit is Cindy Sunquest. It was me, Jim, and Cindy that really kind of put the PE program in with the athletic program, and we just started building it from there. But the biggest thing all 3 of us had on the same page was we took the good from Mater Dei, and we brought in our own thing, as far as it wasn't going to be just all about sports. Right. It was going to be about Christian life and about academics. Yeah. And we kind of wanted to be considered this kind of the Stanford of high schools, and I think we pulled it off pretty good. You have, and it's really amazing, because I have 2 children here now, and never in my wildest dreams did I would think that I would have 2 children here. They're both in varsity sports. My daughter's a varsity cheerleader, and my son's playing on the football team, and it's his 2nd year of playing football, and he's going to be a senior. His 3rd year actually, but 2nd year here. And it's the best thing I've ever done for my kids. It was a big decision for me to switch locations where I was at. But I think that sense, you asked me a few minutes ago, is there a difference when you walk on different campuses? And I think you sense it when you walk in on a campus, whether it be Trabuco Hills High School or Mater Dei or Long Beach Poly, wherever you go. But this is a different environment, and it's so funny you mentioned Stanford. I've never thought of it that way. But that is a really good, idea. Matter of fact,
didn't the football team just get nominated for the best GPA in a school, over 3,000? Or what is the enrollment? For the enrollment that the size of this school is, that they're number one in GPA.
Right. That's the first year our football team has won. We actually won the CAF Academic Award this year.
That's what it is, yeah.
And we're at 1,700 right now. And I started at Huntington Beach. I went to Ocean View, went to GAR because I was young, and at those times with declining enrollment, you'd always be the youngest to get rifted. Yeah. And then finally, after about 8 years, the Modern Day job offer came up, and I took that, and Modern Day was a great experience. Yeah. But the one thing we took out of Modern Day was we were going to make sure that all sports were given what they were due, as far as, it doesn't matter if the boy or girl plays football, basketball, volleyball, whatever. They should be given as much credit as just the main sport people. Right. So that's how we started the school, building it, and it's I think it's paid off, and you can see now our football team with getting the academic award just goes to show that we're doing it the right way.
How much pressure, and I know the answer to this question, but I think coming from you is paramount. How much pressure is there, Rich, on the fact that you're expected to win here? I mean, this is the Trinity League. It's one of the premier leagues in the country. You sell the school in that aspect too, right? That, hey, come here and you're going to experience high-level academics and high-level athletics. But what's the pressure like for these coaches? You deal with them every single day. The pressure to win, the pressure to be successful.
Well, right now the school's doing a huge push on trying to get the kids in touch with pressure, learning how to cope with it and stuff like that. And whether it's the kids or the parents, the coaches, the teachers, everybody's got to start working together, because the pressure is crazy. From not only trying to get the college scholarship, to getting straight A's, to becoming the starting player, whether it's basketball, football, in the swim, or the best cheerleader, or whatever, be the girl that gets to do the stunts on that. Because the cheerleading thing right now, it's under us, athletics. It's huge. If you ever go to Florida, it's a major production, and the pressure's everywhere. We got to learn how to balance it, and understand that it's great to be the star, but it's also great to be the kid that just wants to get involved in art or the play, or he just wants to concentrate on his books. Right. You know what I mean? Right. It's okay. It's okay to do that.
Your thoughts about all the things that you've done. You are one of the most successful ADs, not only in the state of California, but for the time span of what you've done in the nation. And you're very modest about it. You say, it's not me, I'm not out there. Yeah. But yeah, you are out there directing this thing. It's really hard. So you've had some great coaches. Can you tell me about your relationship with the coaches and how you balance that out?
I was asked this a couple weeks ago, and I think some of it comes with the understanding of my family. I was the middle child, so I got to see greatness above me and greatness below me. As far as successful, you see my family. They're successful. My two sisters are big-time artists. I got a younger brother that's a doctor. Everybody's very, very successful. And so I got to see that. And so when I hired coaches, I tried to find those qualities. I actually started in college as an art major. And so that's why I have appreciation for that. So right away, I wanted coaches that cared about stuff just besides their sport. And most of the time we hit gold, and sometimes we had some issues. But for the most part, if you hire people that are givers and not takers, it's always more successful. Our coaches are there for the right reasons. We have great programs. And right now I think we have one of the best coaching staffs across the board that we've ever had. And it's paying off in our sports. This spring it could be unbelievable, the start we're having.
I watch you watch sports. You don't know it, but I watch you when I'm at a football game or at a basketball game, the other day at a baseball game. You are extremely invested in this. This is personal. When somebody gives up a home run, or somebody misses a three-point basket or fails to get in the end zone, you internalize it. You bleed blue, huh?
Well, there's a couple things going on there. One, now that I'm older, a lot of these coaches, I feel like they're my kids. From Wade and Sean and Chris that we just hired in baseball. So it's kind of like having you're watching your daughter do cheerleading. Yeah. It's different. You find yourself kind of bobbing and weaving with them and stuff like that. And yeah, at the end of the day, when they're successful, Santa Margarita is successful, and with success comes a lot of happy people, and sometimes that keeps problems out of my door too, which is good. But for the most part, these guys do a great job, and yeah, I live and die with them.
Yeah,
and the kids.
Yeah, it was funny because you said you just had how did you phrase it this afternoon? You said, last night I had a deal with a little major problem. A little major problem. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the major problem is, but I know that you have dealt with all kinds of subjects, all kinds of different circumstances.
Yeah.
But can we touch on something that I think is really important? And I pride myself on trying not to be that parent, that helicopter parent. I don't expect me to go tell a coach how to coach, and I don't expect the coach to tell me how to be a parent. And I think parents should know where the white line is in the sand or a white line on the field.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with the constant battle of parents and stepping into your realm? Because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've experienced it myself. And boy, do you have to have thick skin.
Well, we just kind of learned how in the last 10 years to deal with the helicopter parent. Now we have bulldozer parents. The helicopter parent is like right now, okay, that's kind of expected. But now you got the bulldozer parent that wants to actually do the path for the kid and not even let the kid get, go talk to the coach.
Right.
We'll go talk to the coach. So the biggest thing is, whether it's bulldozer or helicopter, or whatever you want to call it, communication. Early communication to what, how they earn their playing time. Communication, this is what we're all about. And I think sometimes a lot of the problems are just misunderstandings. And by you being a parent, you understand it a lot more. And being a parent helped me too, because you go home and you see your son or daughter and they're depressed.
Yeah.
What's happened? Well, practice didn't go well. Well, you want to fix it for him.
Yeah.
But the old days, my parents, no, you deal with it.
Right.
It's a different day and age. So by being a head coach and by being a parent, I've learned a lot more. I've had to go into that locker room after a tough loss. And my big thing was, I don't know if you're probably too young to remember the movie E.T.
Oh yeah.
And I used to tell the
I love that you said
to
that.
tell the kids afterwards, after a hard, tough loss, especially a team that was into it, I go in, hey, I wish I was ET right now. I wish I could take the pain away,
Yeah.
but no, it is painful. But the painful means you're into it, which is good. So we learned a lot from the wins and the losses, and if we can help the parents early on to realize there are going to be tough times, and hopefully there's way more good times, but it's a growing process for all of us. If you have a problem, contact me. You don't need to jump over my head.
Right.
Hopefully we can solve, and hopefully we're hiring coaches that understand this day and age, you're going to have to communicate.
Yeah.
It's not like 20 years ago, I'm just not going to call them back. Hey, if you don't like it, leave. If your parents don't like it, go somewhere. No, communicate. At the end of the day, they still might go, but as long as you do your best job, hopefully it works out good for everybody.
How did you learn that? I mean, because there's a lot of ADs that don't last, a lot of coaches that don't last because maybe they let their ego get in the way, right? Your ego gets in the way, or your man up to the situation gets in the way. Mm-hmm. So it's been probably many layers that you've had to learn this.
Yeah, I got to give my dad a credit. My dad was a great doctor, and a doctor for the right reasons. He wasn't in it for the money, he was in it to help people. And I remember, I'm like 30 years old or so, and I remember going home to visit, and there's my dad, he's like 70, and he's studying, reading a medical magazine. I go, Dad, why are you still doing it? He goes, every day I gotta learn.
Yeah.
And every day I gotta get better. And as a doctor, we go back, we still take boards to keep our license up. And so because you just gotta keep learning.
Yeah.
And so I try to learn from the tough situations early on. I remember early on, I had a mom, very unhappy, and I was gonna try to tell her how to be a better parent.
Yeah.
Well, that was a big mistake, and I learned from that.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to try to make it better for the coach and the kid,
Right.
and try to get the parent to buy in. But if you're going to try to tell them how to be a parent, that's not your business.
Yeah. Let me touch on a subject that I know that's very personal on the level of parents and coaches and teams and schools. So not too long ago, I had Coach Bob Johnson on that he was retiring, and he said, Paul, one of the challenges I have is private schools versus public schools. And you know that, right? It's very public.
Oh, yeah.
As being in a private school compared to a public school, How do you diffuse that, that issue? Are we recruiting? Are we not recruiting? Whatever. And I think you and I could have a conversation away from a microphone, right, and have an entirely different conversation. But candidly, there is a division in the line there. Where do you think that is going in the future, in the sense of public, private, and this again goes back to the pressure of trying to be the best and winning?
Well, just to even get to be mentioned in the same kind of conversation with Bob Johnson is kind of an honor. It's funny, and I don't want to drag this out too much, but him and I actually go way, way back to when he was coaching El Toro and assistant coach there for Tim Travers. And he's coaching there because his son was the point guard. And I'm sitting there coaching with Gary at Modern Day. So I got to know him early on. I think my situation of coming from Huntington Beach and Ocean View, which with a great basketball coach, Jim Harris, I gained great respect for the public schools athletic directors, and I got to know a lot of them. So I realized at Modern Day that some things weren't right as far as the relationships. So our biggest thing when we came here was to build our relationships with the public schools, and I think we did a great job. When we first started this place, there was no Chibuco, no Tesoro, no J. Sarah, and so whether it was San Clemente or Laguna Hills, El Toro, I became a lot of friends with a lot of those guys, Irvine schools and stuff like that, and I knew a lot of them. And so
had some great rivals with the Irvine schools.
Yes. And then so we tried to open up lines of communications with them. If I heard a kid might be leaving their school to come over, I would call them and tell them. And I made sure our coaches, we're going to build the best programs we can, and hopefully they will come. And I think they did. The game changed, probably about 10 years ago. But those first 20 years, we tried as hard as possible, and we played Mission Viejo this year in football. We still play San Clemente and Tesoro and Chibuco. They'll play us and stuff, and they're right down the street. You don't see that a whole lot from some of the other schools. But I think we've done it the right way. And we do get accused of something, I'll call and I'll talk to about it and say, hey, well, let me look into it.
It's hard. I know your job is not easy. When you look back at, I look back at all the great athletes that have come from here. I mean, just the other day I'm watching Bo Hostler play golf. Of course, Klay Thompson, when he's healthy, is playing basketball, and his brother playing baseball, and then Carson Palmer, and Jordan Palmer, and the Finnerans, and you go the list.
Amy
Rodriguez, and I'm going to miss way too many.
Oh yeah, that's always scares me.
So I won't get into it, but Rich, you guys have had some amazing athletes come through here. It's got to make you feel proud when you turn on the TV and you see them in action.
And as you say those names, you say amazing, and they are, but the first thing that pops in my head, great kid, great person, great kid. They really, and I think that's a compliment to the school, but also to the kid, the parents and stuff like that. We had the three Thompsons go through, and I think I talked to the dad one time just to introduce myself, and he said, hey coach, you guys are doing a good job. And that was it. And then you got Trace, Mikey, and Clay, all very successful, and I'm telling you, they're good guys. Now they have to be guarded now because they're so popular and stuff like that, but they're just quality guys. And Carson was the same way. Carson was in PE with me his senior year. And, he has that stern look, but he has a great sense of humor. The Finnerans, great sense of humor. Matter of fact, that's the biggest thing I've learned here, whether it's Tony Moiso or George O'Connell or Art Bircher or these great athletes, almost one of the key, and even yourself, you guys have a great sense of humor. And I find that's a quality in really talented people. And like my sister Mimi was married to the president of Disney, great sense of humor. My sister Patty Barnett's married to John Barnett, the top criminal lawyer in the country, great sense of humor. Now, of course, they come across pretty stern, but they're good people and great sense of humor.
So you're saying that you have a great sense of humor?
It might be a little twisted, but I think it's pretty good.
You do have a great. It's so funny because I took your picture at the baseball field, and you were smiling, and Jim's sitting next to me. He goes, "He doesn't smile much." I said, "Yeah, I know."
I used to tell when I was at Ocean View, I used to see the kids get so wiped out after some losses, and I go, "Hey, look, you can lose your girl, you can lose the game, just don't lose your sense of humor." And it's got me through some tough times.
So, Coach, you mentioned it. I think either 44 or 41 years, Pop, you said at first you've been coaching in athletics. What is it, 44?
44.
44 years. Come from a very successful family. You've been extremely successful. By the way, were doing the show here at the Grotto in Santa Margarita. At one time was a sand volleyball lot here, and then among other things. But this is where the kids pray after football games.
Right.
Very special place. Your thoughts about those type of memories that you leave behind and all the things. I know it might not hit you at first, but it will at some point.
We have facilities every couple weeks, and yesterday Randy Redwoods, who is so much a part of the school that nobody will ever understand how much. Sorry to get a little emotional talking about Randy.
Yeah.
But this place really isn't here, or at least developed, without Randy Redwoods. And yeah, it's when I stood there with Randy the other day, we started talking about all the different things. It's like, wow, it has been a long time, and we did a lot of things. But really, it's what you said first. It's the kids. It's some big time quality families that helped build this place.
Right.
Some outstanding teachers, coaches. That's probably the biggest memory. You know, I've had some coaches that without this place wouldn't be the same way. One of the first guys that popped in my head is Eddie Rapp.
Yeah.
You know, he was one of the guys that came along. And I said, that's exactly how we wanted to do it. I knew how we wanted to do it, but Eddie kind of put it all together with the academics and the spiritual and the high level of competition and making kids be held accountable and dealing with the parents on a very professional level.
Right. I have to mention one guy that brought me here, and I know that you've been friends with for a long time, and obviously he was a coach and a teacher here, but the president of the school now is Andy Sulik. Andy Sulik, being an alum of the school, he's taking Santa Margarita on a new track and a new vision that he has, and it's spectacular what he's done so far. When you leave as an athletic director, what kind of conversations do you have with him to even provide him more insight, because you have so much wisdom?
Well, it's by what we just talked about. There's a direct product of the school.
Yeah.
Great person, good father, good man, great sense of humor. Even though people probably don't think Andy and I have good sense of humor, he does. It's just as you go along, you have to become more and more guarded. But I mean, it's one thing to be president of a place like this, but to have his passion, and he cares because he went here.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I know sometimes he has tough days and people don't understand, but at the end of the day, he wants to make this place a better place for the kids, the families, the teachers, the coaches, and I could be leaving at a better time with knowing them leaving a place who somebody believes the same things I believe, and then bringing in like Jim Hardigan, and you know, we still have some veterans here for unbelievable coach Chuck Morales.
Yeah.
And then the young guys, Wade Frazier and Sean Zeidler, and now the Chris Malik, and Jeff Breiners has a great basketball program going together, and Coach Fisher, couldn't be happier with the way he runs things, and the way he's a role model.
Guys like Coach Bazuski, who's been here forever, right? You know?
I mean, I could go on and on from Johnny, and we just hired a girl that played for me, Annie Garrett, and her girl that played for her, Ray Lynn. I mean, we got generation after generation. I know Ray Lynn did the play-by-play for you, the basketball game.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, there's extreme talent, young talent here. I'm fired up to see those people being taken over. I mean, it couldn't be any better for me.
Right.
You know, and with technology moving on, it's probably time I get out anyways.
So next year, next fall, 6 games at Tribuco Hills High School for the football team, and then hopefully Saddleback is built and that's underway. But with that said, do you ever see a football facility, stadium? You know, I know huge mountains would have to be moved in sense of politics maybe and some city stuff. Could it ever be done here?
I think there's in 5 years, or maybe it'll be 10 if I'm still around. Depends on what the wine country does to me. I'd love to see the new science building. I'd love to see the performing arts building. I'd love to see either a stadium or at least a way better, friendly, athletic situation out there. Maybe something where you tie the baseball. And when I say baseball and football, it would be used by lacrosse and soccer and track, and the baseball could be used by other sports and stuff. But really, you know, it's more of a state-of-the-art facility up there. I mean, for what an outstanding athletic program we have, it's not bad up there, but it could be much more fan-friendly. I think as far as athletes, it's awesome.
Right.
And our weight room is one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
But maybe some more fan-friendly thing, but definitely the science building and the performing arts. And I say the performing arts, when I started this, I know performing art people would not believe this. Like I said, I majored in art my first couple years of college. I had tickets to the Performing Arts Center.
I know I've been talking to you for a couple months about this show, so thank you for doing it.
Oh, yeah, thank
you
you
for sitting down with me and spending some time, some quiet time, which you don't get a lot
Yeah,
of.
this is pretty nice.
But man, congratulations of all the things that you've done here. One of the most successful persons at this job in the country. That's amazing. And you can join the ranks of your family of being very successful all around. So God bless you, your family, and your retirement. And thank you for all that you've done for me.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah.